You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis on all things sports. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, subscribe to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports, and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
Are you looking for a place to listen to your favorite music and sports? Look no further. WLSN, the Lead Sports and Music Network, is a web-based music and sports network. Our network was created to provide authentic, high-energy entertainment through live streaming to a national audience. We play popular music while hosting podcasts from all over the world. Curious? Check us out on the web at leapsports.com. That's LEEIB sports.com. Or find us on the TuneIn Radio app. Got Alexa? Just say, Alexa, play WLSN on TuneIn. WLSN is America's #1 blog-themed sports and music network.
Hey, everyone in, let's go. Huddle up on 3. 1, 2, 3, huddle up.
I don't want them to gain another yard.
You blitz all night. If they cross the line of scrimmage, I'm going to take every last one of you out. You make sure they remember forever the night they played the Titans.
Extremely proud of you guys on your focus and your ability to lock in all week long this week. So, what I'm going to do now, okay, because you're going brand new head football coach.
And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
We did it our way, baby! We did it! We did it! We did it!
Welcome, everyone. Huddle Up Podcast. We are live on Tuesday night, January the 25th, last show of the month of January. Also, the kind of the second to last show, really, if we're looking at the 2021-2022 NFL season. We won't be live next week for Pro Bowl week. We're going to take the week off because, let's be honest, the NFL is too. And but we will be back Super Bowl week to preview the big game and look at all of the fun around that. What's up, Devin? What's up, everybody joining us live? Give us a like and a share. We'd appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast feed, which is back up and running. So you can find this show where it belongs. You can also find it on EJ's network, which he'll talk about a little bit later on. You can also get merchandise over at whatamaneuver.net.
What a maneuver.
No.
What a maneuver.
Oh, you had one already. Sorry, I was trying to help you out, brother.
I came prepared this week. Follow the show on Twitter at Huddle Up Podcast and on Facebook at Huddle Up Podcast, Twitter at Pod. EJ, how we doing this week, my guy?
I'm good. Still getting over that exciting divisional weekend. I mean, you think my team's in it or something, but yeah, wow.
I mean, they're all in it, right? No, the Niners. You don't like the Niners.
Hate the Niners.
That's right. It's one NFL team.
Kind of hate the Rams too. No, hate them. It's like whatever.
Hey, how do you hate the Rams? Like who
Never
hates the Rams? Besides like a division rival. I mean,
I love Stafford. That's about it.
And I mean, so do you love anybody in the NFC West?
Seattle. Wilson.
Well, yeah. Well, what if he's not there anymore?
Of all the teams in the West to like, it's Seattle.
Well, Russell Wilson. That's why Russell Wilson wasn't there. I wouldn't give a shit.
That is a disgusting act.
Yeah.
Matt, how we doing this week?
Doing well. Exciting weekend of football. A lot of big news that happened today, too. So I'm looking forward to talking about everything that is going on this week.
Yes. So, like, why don't we? Because like there was a bit of like big news today with Sean Payton announcing he is not returning. Was his contract up, or did he just like?
He has 3 years left. Apparently, 3 years left.
Yeah.
Wow. So
Yeah,
he's just
still
like,
under contract.
he's just like, I'm done here. So apparently the idea of coaching Trevor Siemian or Taysom Hill for another year was,
Who demanded that they extend.
right. That's the funny part.
Well, that, and then you look at the cap situation. They are $74 million in the negative right now.
Uh-oh. That's not great. Oh, Jason coming in hot already. Is here comes the bullshit. Yeah, man. As you're following along, comment along. We'll interact throughout the show. But yeah, Sean Payton, that announcement kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know if there's a health issue with him that we're not aware of.
Well, we kind of did hear in the last couple of days that there was some speculation about him possibly not returning like that last 3 days. That it was, just like, will he come back? He hasn't committed. He didn't commit to the front office that about coming back, and then of course this happens. There's a little speculation, but
Andrew's got fuck this rebuild. I'm out. Like he's just
I don't blame him.
I blame Kevin James. I think that movie just I put Sean Payton. He's like, I can't be associated with
right
anymore. Yeah, Sean Payton got his money from that movie. I was like, I've got enough. I'm good.
I'm good. But yeah, so surprising news there. But man, this past weekend, what was, I mean, arguably, maybe definitively, like the best weekend NFL playoff wise that I can remember. I don't know if I can think of a full weekend that was better. So why don't we talk about it? Matt, what was your biggest takeaway from this weekend?
Biggest takeaway, Jimmy G is just not going to lead them to the promised land. That was my biggest takeaway. Of all the games, I think it's just they won despite him, and I was happy that they did. But, I mean, and it wasn't even necessarily all of his fault, but it's like him and his receivers can't both play well at the same time. Like, start of the game, he was throwing dimes, and everyone was dropping everything. And then end of the game, he was just off completely. So I don't know that the Niners defense is like generationally good enough to like take them the whole way. That would be my takeaway, is that I think the Niners defense has taken them as far as they can at this point. Prove me wrong, but that's my
and that's going to be the big thing going into the game this weekend, especially when you have a team that's performed as well as they have against the Rams this season. Let's see, Devin about Sean Payton says, wouldn't be surprised shows up Miami. Everything's good with his health. The only problem there is, because I know EJ, you were trying to start shit because you were talking about your Cowboys and Sean Payton earlier today.
You mean your Cowboys, right?
Yeah, your Cowboys. That's what I said.
Your Cowboys. Yeah, you said that.
Yeah, your Cowboys.
Yeah,
our Cowboys, I should say. But the problem with Payton going anywhere is they're going to have to come to some sort of deal with him and the Saints, and I think that could be a tripping point with a lot of teams. Maybe they don't give a crap about Miami. I think there's little to no chance that he'd end up in Dallas. I don't think the Saints are going to make that deal with a team in conference. So I'd be shocked there. But yeah, maybe a team like Miami. I don't know. But yeah, the Niners offense. But to me, like with the defense, to me that's what's going on with the Niners offense tells me how good the Niners defense is, because and I get the cold weather, I get it started to snow, whatever, but like you took the one of the best offenses in the NFL and you held them to 10 points.
Agreed. I just think that they're also going to be seeing a better defense this coming weekend than they've seen so far.
Well, that's true. Spoiler alert: bet the under in the game on Sunday.
Yep.
But yeah, it's definitely a testament to the defense. It's going to be really interesting to see how that game plays out, and we'll talk about that game coming up in a little bit. EJ, your biggest takeaway from the win?
There's one takeaway. Well, I have two real quick, but the first one, despite losing, Tom Brady is the greatest boogeyman in the history of football. Because tell me how many people who hate Tom Brady or if you're a Rams fan, the butts were tight in that fourth quarter because
Sure.
I mean, and Sean McVay, praise to him, especially for him staying on the gas because you know what, honestly, it could have been easy for him to say, you know what, let's go to overtime, let's just down the ball and not risking a pick. I think he realized that if Tampa gets the ball first in the overtime, game's over. Because at that point, Tom Brady was feeling it. So praise to Sean McVay for staying aggressive despite almost blowing that lead. There he is.
Here's a juggernaut. Ooh, by the way, our resident AJ Hawk, I dig that jersey.
Thank you.
Shit team on fire, but yeah.
Oh, you would know all about that, right? Giants fan, Cowboys fan.
Asshole. Is that T? Is that T?
No, but it should be.
Right.
We can pretend it is.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
But yeah,
where's your popcorn, Jim? Come on now.
I ate it all. I was a drop-in on 2 straight Royal Rumble watch-alongs with Ernest and the Take 3 guys.
Oh, snap.
So I ate my way.
Yeah, we did it. Between fucking popcorn, Cheez-Its. What did Mike have? He had a goldfish.
Mike had everything.
Yeah,
that's apparently the snack
that
house.
guy. Come on now. Yeah, and then like the whatever little Debbie's that I think Joe had also too. Yeah.
Of all the excuses you've given for not having your popcorn, sir, that is the best one, and I salute you.
Watch along equals food.
But EJ, you're besides your Tom Brady, you always have to talk about your old pal Tom. I know you were heartbroken, but your biggest takeaway from the weekend that was,
man, Patrick Mahomes is this. Damn, he's so good. He's so fucking good. I mean, how could you not? Well, I had 2. You missed the first one, Tom Brady. You missed that, buddy.
Well, don't get tired talking about Tom Brady. We'll be here an extra hour.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
for better or worse.
And no, Pat Mahomes. I mean, Jesus. I mean, I know I should find someone a little creative, but I'm still hyped after that game on Sunday. 2 days later, I'm like, wow, what did I just watch here?
Oh, I thought it was because you had some ganja this afternoon because you obviously got dunked on thoroughly in your pod. Football.
Shut up.
Actually, no, you didn't. I make that joke, but like honestly, we agreed a lot on some of the final grades.
Fucking weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, what has happened and what usually happens late in the season is because the percentage and opportunity for error shrinks. You even start to get a few things right. So, no. Anyways, if I may say real quick, if no one said it, if Matthew Stafford is not your takeaway this weekend, I can't help you. Like, that dude did some pretty amazing stuff. And if it wasn't for Patrick LeVon Mahomes II, he would have had the biggest moment.
I do agree with you on that one. Yes.
Of the weekend, right? I mean, So.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that pass in that clutch moment when everything was going the other direction for
Tom
the Rams.
Brady was getting more breaks again,
No, we know that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that's a hell of a pass, and Stafford, like the thing we talked about with the Rams preseason early in the season was Matt Stafford. They made the move to bring him in for a moment like what we saw this weekend.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Like that's the difference. A guy who can make that pass in that big spot. Goff doesn't make that pass.
Okay, good. If you didn't say it out loud, I was going to say, so what you're telling me is, and the rest of the group will agree, do you scoff at Goff in this situation?
Yeah, he doesn't make that pass.
I don't think he has the arm strength to make that pass.
Right.
You don't even think he can complete the pass, Matt?
No.
At all. Oh, okay. Snap.
Like he's if he throws that pass, he's hitting a slant. He's not hitting the bomb. He's hoping his receiver does the work, or if he tries to throw the deep ball, it gets picked off at the 45, and there's even more opportunity for Tom to make that to finish what he started. And so like that's the difference between Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford.
And y'all say I'm the mean one on this panel. Damn.
No, Jim got a lot of ass on him too.
Matt dunked on him too. Again, not incorrectly, but like it was just so. Well, hey,
I mean, from what I saw from Goff this season, he's underthrowing that ball. He probably can make it 1 time out of 10, but 90% of the time he is just underthrowing that poorly.
There was a few points this year where I thought, man, this trade worked out for both teams. Like I thought there was, I think
was it when the Lions were 0-10?
But here, in the same time with 0-10, there was 9 of those games they lost by 2. Like,
sure.
I don't think there was anything necessarily that Goff was doing that was killing them.
Right.
It wasn't on
a long-term answer. I'm not saying like he's not going to be your Peyton Manning. He's not going to be your Tom Brady. But like, if you're building pieces around him, you don't necessarily need to go diving big for a quarterback right now.
I would argue he's not even anyone's Tyrod Taylor.
Sure, but I'm being purposefully, exaggerating.
Yes.
But as
he's your Teddy Bridgewater. He's your stopgap QB.
Don't do that to Teddy.
Oh, damn, Teddy, bro.
But it just
he's your Nick Foles. There we go. I like
that's
that.
fair too. Except he's not.
I was going to say, is Goff ever going to win a Super Bowl? Like,
but Goff has never been a backup. See, Foles the backup and Foles the starter are two different entities. I think we'll agree here, gentlemen, right?
Yes.
I was going to say Jeff Hostetler, but that's a little too old for folks.
I remember playing as him in Tecmo Super Bowl.
With the Raiders, though, or with the Giants?
That was.
It wouldn't have been the Giants, I don't think.
He wasn't started in LA, the LA Raiders, a little while.
No, I think it was with the Giants, I believe.
Okay.
Trying to remember. Yeah. Neither here nor there.
Indeed.
Wow.
My biggest takeaway, is how do you kick a ball out of the back of the end zone with 13 seconds left? Like.
If the squib kick was made for any point in time,
right,
that was that point in time.
It's kind of that moment, right?
Well, yes and no. I hear the squib kick. That's not my biggest beef, honestly. You kicked it out of the back of the end zone to prevent a return. I can see that logic. It's 13 seconds. I'm cool with that. The one thing they can, air quotes, really do is return the kickoff to win, right? One would think. Unless you take out the factor of Patrick LeVon Mahomes II, right? So with all that in mind, what are we talking about with the defense that was called to allow for Patrick LeVon Mahomes II to set up to
giving Mahomes and Tyreek Hill that much cushion.
Come on, guys.
In hindsight, like I get what you're what's the cliche? The prevent defense only prevents you from winning. But like,
my man,
you're giving that, you're padding that. But you got to remember, when you have probably the fastest guy in football, you don't want to give him the opportunity to start running because you found out the hard way. Bad things can happen.
Yeah. Listen, the only time cushion is good for a physical activity is something we can't talk about on this show. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Well, I think Jason has the point too. Like, even if you're not going to go squib kick, like go, just put the ball up and make somebody decide, are they going to like catch it on the 5 and try to return, like try and make a decision. Like, are they going to run some time? Are you going to fair catch it on the 5 and then just take the knee and go to over? Well, I guess
okay, but listen, that's all cute, and every armchair Monday morning, Tuesday morning quarterback can make these points. Well, you could have gone this many seconds and this many seconds. That's all adorable. You kick it out of the back of the end zone. All the bad-ish that can go wrong too, like the ball going out of bounds, like somebody getting a big return, like any of the other things in special teams that can go wrong. And by the way, if you don't think special teams is an opportunity for disaster, just like anything else, just ask the Packers, fools. Okay. At the end of the day, the cushion defense is a far bigger blunder than being safe on the kickoff.
Fair. That's fair. But real quick to wrap up the weekend, which winning team did you learn the most about, Kyle?
Which winning team?
Which winning team?
Because I'll tell you, the losing team I lost the most about was the Buffalo Bills. Nice to see him finally mature and actually, for all intents and purposes, against any of the other 30 teams in the NFL, winning the football game.
Mhm.
But which winning team did I learn the most about? I'm gonna have to stick with the Rams and Stafford on that, to be honest.
Yeah.
If you're, no offense, Jason, I've been talking about the Bengals doing that. The Bengals is a good answer if you didn't call it way back when Jim was in love with the Bears and EJ
I
was
said you got
irrational
one
about the
thing on me
Chiefs.
from this season. That's fine.
You love it.
One
I
week.
mean, I'm not saying that to talk trash. I mean, it did make EJ laugh like a girl there, but like, I like how you leaned into it, partner. That's good.
Hey, man.
But I did that more to kind of talk about how early in the season I was trying to tell you guys about the Bengals. So if it was this weekend that people learned about the Bengals, I'm cool with it. They're not on TV enough. But listen, for somebody who doesn't watch games like Titans fans like to tell me, right, EJ? I had them picked out pretty early.
All right, EJ.
Whew. I guess the Bengals, really, because and they grew up. I mean, every time I turned around, Joe Burrow
off my notes again. This guy.
No, Joe Burrow was on his ass. And most games when you get sacked, what was it, 9 times got sacked?
Yeah.
That's a loss. And not even
for anybody else.
Anybody else. And yet he can come back, stay in the game, all that. They grew up. They've been growing up. This is a young team, and they're growing up. Joe Burrow fought very eyes. This guy is this, he's going to be one. I mean, the way he's going now, he could be one of the greats. I mean, honestly, like second year in the league, and he's already in the AFC Championship game, and with a team that was supposed to win 5-6 games this year, and now he's 6 games from going to the Super Bowl. I mean, they grew up. These last 2 weeks.
I'm on record somewhere, but I can't tell you which podcast or article or show or whatever, any of that.
Probably mine.
It might have been. It might have been while I was talking to Dalton Tinklenberg back when Blue HQ Media was still a thing. But the punchline being this, gentlemen, when I interviewed Joe Burrow going into the Fiesta Bowl, I didn't think he would be great right away, but I knew he was a guy that had the right mindset to learn and get in there. Yeah. I mean, do I have to repeat the story from going to, way deep in the depth chart in Ohio State, then transferring to LSU, not immediately being the starter, to then eventually evolving into being the quarterback of the statistically best offensive team in college effing football of all time, right? So over and above his temperament, there are facts in the case that I could take to a court of law and prove, right?
Yeah.
Matt, how about you? Which winning team did you learn the most about?
I'm going to echo the sentiments of the Rams just because I think we've been waiting to see if Stafford can deliver, time and again on the largest stage. I think he did that. I think I said, what I said about the Niners and to a lesser extent, the Bengals, those two teams kind of showed certain things on one side of the ball, not so much on the other, but I think the Rams kind of showed on both sides they have the potential to put it all together. They shut Tom down for quite some time, and Tom's going to do Brady things at some point in the game. So you just kind of weather that storm, and your offense needs to prepare for it, which they did. So I think that they had the best complete game of the weekend.
#GOAT.
No, you mean Brady things like, finding one of the best offenses despite injury and finding ways for them to score? Yeah, no, that's very Brady to get credit for other guys' talent. You go for that. By the way, his offensive coordinator now a leading coaching candidate, but nobody wants to talk about any of those guys. It's just that old fart. Cool.
Hey, Jim, #GOAT status.
Yeah, exactly. Stafford, if he does well, might get there if he gets this and then another Super Bowl. That's a great point by you, EJ, because I know you wouldn't do anything that stupid to give me another opportunity to dunk on you.
I mean, I will.
It's like we know each other, you know what I'm saying?
I will agree. I will agree with the Rams. But I'm also just instead of hammering the same points, I'll also say I think we learned a good bit about the 49ers because there's issues offensively, which well documented. But I like I said, I think we learned a lot about that defense. And when you're talking about championship caliber teams, a defense that can take one of the best offenses in football and hold them to 3 points after the first drive. at home in their element.
And forcing him to turn the ball over too, not for nothing.
Yeah, I mean that's got to mean something. So I think we learned a lot about the 49ers. We'll see if it's all for naught or if if they can turn it into an NFC championship.
Yeah.
This weekend. But
and Jim, quickly, just because I don't mean to slow the show down or beg the point, but I'm genuinely curious. What is it that you see different from this defense than the one that went to the Super Bowl just a few years ago?
I don't know. I mean, I think they're both talented units. I think that, without really going back and analyzing a 49ers team that I'm not a fan of, because I'm not like EJ that spreads the love around all over the league.
Oh my God.
Right.
I'm here wearing a 49ers hat, and he still does that to you.
I have fourth love to give, I mean, I love how it really comes back to me all the time. Like, what did I do to you, man? Seriously.
What did you do to us? 20 weeks of garbage ass top 10s. That's what you did to us.
We're getting top 4 tonight, though, buddy.
Well, it's like Kyle said, when you start to run out of ways to be wrong, you'll eventually be right. But without really looking back on it, I think there's a lot of similarities.
Okay. And I'm not asking to try to put you on the spotlight. I'm actually just looking for some sort of a beacon of hope, but I digress. We'll get into that later.
Hey, look, somebody does feel bad for you, EJ. Then,
it's been 10 years, dude. I mean, we wouldn't do it.
Jason, are you a 49ers fan? I can't tell by the comments. So the big topic of discussion over the past couple of days, of course, has come to the overtime rules in the NFL, and whether or not they should change. Should it be reactionary to this weekend, or is it a problem that should have been addressed multiple years ago? Look, here's the deal. Everybody's saying that the Bills got screwed. They didn't get screwed.
Thank you.
Like, they lost.
Oh, so wait. Thank you.
There you go. They lost because they lost fair and square by the rule as it is with the NFL today. So they didn't get screwed. Is it a bad rule? In my opinion, I don't like it. I don't like the one possession sudden death the way it is. Now I understand field goal, other team gets the ball, whatever, but touchdown ends it. Not a fan of it.
Right.
But the Niners the Bills didn't get screwed. They were just victim of a coin toss. So like, should the Bills have been smarter with the kickoff or the defense or whatever? Absolutely.
Patrick LeVon Mahomes from his own 25 with 13 seconds. Thank you. Move on.
Oh no. The Bills should have been better or smarter, absolutely. But the rule can also be bad, even though, like, it doesn't have to be A or B.
Right.
Put it that way.
They should have. Well, go ahead. I'll let you finish your point because I want to make a bigger deal of it. Go ahead.
Sure. No, go ahead. I mean, that's pretty much my point. Is it's not A or B. You know, it can be a bad rule or a rule that should be changed, but also the Bills could have been smarter. And like Andrew says, they could have called heads.
You can't call heads because tails never fails. Allegedly.
Right?
Allegedly.
Theoretically speaking.
Hey, 60% of the time, my ish works every time. But I mean, let me pass the ball to the reasoned mind. Our guy, our resident AJ Hawk. I'm going to send you a Cuban one of these days, Matt, for you to puff on the air. I'm just saying.
Please.
But where do you weigh in on this, man? Because I'm curious your perspective. Because I think I'm not sure that you've had a team get burned by overtime rules lately. So I know that EJ has.
Yeah, I've never necessarily liked the rule and the coin toss thing, but they've already altered it once to kind of like at the end of the day, if it's still tied as we come down to the end of overtime, then one person gets the ball, one extra possession, and then it's unfair again. So in the sense of fairness, I don't think there's much more that they can do aside from going to the college rule, which I don't think they ever go that route. Or they probably would have already.
Yeah.
So I think it's the Bills didn't get screwed. And I think most true Bills fans will acknowledge that that was more of a shortcoming of your number one defense not being able to prevent Mahomes from just marching down the field twice within 2.5 minutes. You had every opportunity to put that game away. Your defense didn't, so that's on your defense. That's on your team. That's not on the rules. And I don't think it should change moving forward, just because I think there's always going to be some gripe that someone can have with the overtime rules, no matter what it is.
EJ?
No, the rules. I mean, it is what it is. The rule sucks, but getting screwed would mean that you didn't follow the rule. The rule's in place. It's not like it changed all of a sudden during the game. They didn't get screwed. The rule does suck, though. And for the record, my opinion about wanting the rule to be changed has nothing to do with what happened in this game. Has nothing to do with what happened in the AFC title game in 2018 when the Pats beat the Chiefs.
Of course, you would bring that up, Chiefs fan, Pats fan.
It has to do with the fact that the rule stunk from the day they announced this was the rule.
Yeah.
Now, college football has it half right on the rule. I'm not a fan of the 25-yard line start. Basically,
that wouldn't work in the NFL. If you would move to that system in the NFL,
no.
You got to go. 40-yard line.
Start at the 50 if you're going to do that.
Something,
or just kick it off like normal.
Like it's got to be further back.
Kick it off. But my only gripe with the rule, really more than anything else, is the fact that no chance to respond. That is it. Beyond that, it is what it is. But they didn't get screwed because nothing happened in the game where like, a bad call here. No, that is literally the rule of NFL football. So that's up to the rules committee now to address it again.
Kyle, well, obviously, I'll let you get to the point. Is because I was talking about it with a couple of coworkers yesterday, and my thought is because thinking of it from like the NHL's point of view, the NHL handles overtime differently in the regular season to the playoffs. Like in the regular season, you have the 7-minute overtime with 3-on-3, and then you go to the shootout. When you get to the playoffs, you go full periods until somebody scores. So like, why can't the NFL? Because I don't think anybody necessarily cares that much about this rule in the regular season. So like, I get it. You can keep games shorter, whatever, if you get a quick score, what have you. But like in the playoffs, like maybe do something where, if a team scores a touchdown, opposing team has a chance to answer. If they answer, then you go to sudden. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the exact answer is. But maybe the idea of doing a regular season form of overtime and a postseason might be the thing that they look at, because it seems to be an issue, publicly speaking, when it happens in the playoffs.
Well, by default, because ties are not allowed in the playoffs. Obviously, ties are allowed in the regular season, so by default, it's kind of already there, sort of.
Well, I mean, it's the same rule. It just you keep playing in the playoffs. Like, there's not going to be a tie,
right?
But the rule itself, in terms of the sudden death with a touchdown, that part is the same, and I think that's the part that people have the problem with.
It's also very easy for the Bills to say, "Oh, we would have scored if we got the ball first. We would have scored if we had the opportunity to answer." Like, we hear that every year from the Saints fans. You didn't, so get over it.
Sure.
Speaks with the way that game was going, Matt. Like, they very well could have.
Probably would have. I'm saying
you have two defenses that were
Gabriel Davis again. Touchdown. Yep.
I mean, Gabe Davis with touchdown number 5. My UCF fans that follow me would have lost their damn minds, dude.
But Kyle, go ahead.
Yeah, bro, you're not far off. You think you're joking. So a couple things I want to unpack here with some of the points that are made. First of all, a lot of the NFL fanhood, again, I would like to remind the world that fan is short for fanatic. So I'm not holding this against them, but I'm reminding the world that they aren't necessarily logically thinking here as far as the big picture. The first thing to be said is these same people who are griping about they want a full period or more overtime and all this, that, and the other thing are the very same ones bitching for player safety when the 18th week was announced. Which bleeping is it? But Kyle, that's only just a few more minutes versus another game. Yeah, but here's the thing. Injuries happen most often when players are worn down and tired. And at that point in the season, late in that game, they're more worn down than they've been at any other point. But I digress.
Well, then, of course, you have the argument the later the Sunday night game goes, the less time they have to recover for the following week.
Oh, hell. And that only affects the winning team. So, now we're back to now we're back to the coin toss being an advantage and all this other stuff, right? Anyways, but I would also introduce this concept, gentlemen. Already, there is a team with an inherent disadvantage in literally every football game. Raise your hand if you know who I'm talking about.
The road team?
The road team. Very good, Ernest Christian. After all, what the hell else are these first 18 weeks for jockeying for? Thank you for the bell. Well done there, Alex. I mean, Jim. But I say that
should I have gone with this?
That's better.
That's old school, right?
Thank you, Ray Combs.
Crap. What? Oh, yeah. Thank you, Dawson.
Richard Dawson.
Anderson?
Richard Dawson.
In tribute to the now departed Louis Anderson.
I also could have gone with.
Well, that's not correct. That's just the setup, but it is Jeopardy. It goes with Alex. I see what you're doing. Anyways, all these excellent tributes I'm throwing off. So what are these first 18 weeks for, if nothing else, but the right to participate in and the opportunity in the playoffs and the opportunity to host the games, right? So if it's a situation where the home team comes in, they already have that advantage, what have you, they're going on. Typically, the visiting team calls the toss, all this other stuff. They had their chance to even it up with that coin toss, but no one wants to talk about that. Okay. Then we get to the part, well, the coin toss and all this, when it comes to who came into the game with an advantage and who doesn't, and all this other happy horse manure, the visiting team, again, I believe, still calls the coin. So to an extent, they already have that part of the fate in their hands. Okay. Now, I say all of that to say, listen, any person you approach that's a football fan and says, hey, does it make sense for each team to have a possession? I agree it does. Okay. But they had sudden death. Y'all didn't like that. Okay, fine. If we make it that each team has a possession, that's the best thing to balance it out. I get all that. But at the end of the day, I think we've made it abundantly clear that anybody getting robbed ain't a thing. And by the way, side note, the main reason why Patrick LeVon Mahomes II was robbed was because D Ford was lined up in the neutral zone, not anything having to do with a damn coin toss. Okay? The Falcons weren't robbed. They effing choked. So let's put some ish in perspective. We start calling for crimes and all this other stuff. This rule being bad, it doesn't suck. It's just not perfect. It's an inch away from the NHL playoffs, Jim, who I think do it fantastically. But the end, it's better than every other playoff. And don't come at me with this college playoff crap. You want to take special teams out of the game entirely? Then aren't you inherently giving the advantage to a team who has, a multi-million-dollar quarterback? Is that something you want to have happen? Is that what the game is to be?
Here's the thing. If the NFL would want to go to the college format of overtime for the regular season, whatever. I don't like that format. I wouldn't like that format for the playoffs.
I hate it everywhere, but that's a whole other question.
The way I was thinking about it this year, I'm like, could you imagine if Georgia and Alabama came down to 2-point conversions? Like, to me, that would have just been just a silly display. You know what I mean? That's the crappy part about the way college changed it this year.
Mm-hmm. It's been that way for a minute, if you ask me. But
when you come down to that, you could have had Georgia and Alabama for the national title game in a 2-point conversion. But it was funny when it was Penn State and Illinois. I don't think it's funny when it's the national title. It is absolutely goddamn hilarious when it was Illinois. Don't get me wrong. But here, Andrew says, as a Vikings fan, watched his team get fucked by the old overtime rules. The Bills didn't get screwed. The Vikings didn't. Yeah, I wasn't saying that anybody here or anybody with a functioning brain was saying that the Bills got screwed. but the takes were out there, and I was just pointing it out that the Bills did not get screwed. They were victim of a bad rule. They didn't get screwed. The rule played out as written. The Bills got quote unquote beat by the rule and also their poor decisions.
To go through the list because it's funny. Falcons choke, D Ford, Patrick LaVon Mahomes II. And hey, guys, look at my okay, well, I don't have the one that shows the Niner logo on the front on tonight, okay? I know what it's like to have Patrick LaVon Mahomes II tear your heart out. 3.5 quarters, it was going to be San Francisco, bitches, and look what happened. Shut the F up.
And thank God it wasn't.
Yeah, I have a long running bet with a friend of mine years ago. It was when the Steelers won their 6th. He bet that the Niners would win their 6th before the Cowboys did. So every time the Niners get deeper into the playoffs, I get a little bit nervous that I'm going to have to buy him a case of beer. I mean, it's not a high stakes bet, but nonetheless,
that was kind of.
I got a Bengals fan.
That was kind of mean. Kyle, I'm sorry.
Oh no. Listen, I gotta do my voice acting because Jim was slowing the draw. Don't be rude.
Don't be rude.
Don't be rude.
There it is.
GC says 10-1 record win teams that win the toss. The only team that lost winning the toss was the 2019.
That is a misleading stat. 10-1 won the game winning the toss. Okay, the actual stat you should be quoting if you're going to do it and not intellectually dishonest is 7-1, because that 7-1 grouping is the one that actually won it off the first drive. Those others, the other team had a chance and didn't do it. So get the hell out my face with dishonest stats. No offense to the commenter, but I'm a data man for a living. I don't take that ish.
Yeah, that's funny. There's
you seem mad.
What's that?
You seem mad right now.
Well, I mean, that's what I do for a living is data, and I hate it when bad info's out there. And I can't blame the commenter because somebody got paid to put that trash out there who does data for a living. It insults me.
That's fake news.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. When if you're going to present a stat as an argument, at least present it to the argument, because the argument is that the coin toss rule is quote unquote unfair. So you can only present a stat that would result in the team winning the toss, winning on that first drive. Because once you get past the first drive, stat's dead.
Correct. But let me also riddle you this: the term unfair being used, right? We've established the unfairness of every football game being the home team, right?
Sure.
The statistic for at least 2 years ago, I don't know the updated one, but the statistic for the home team winning versus the visiting team winning is the home team wins, I think, like it's something like 40-something%, almost 50% of the coin toss. So over and above 7-1, it's going to be, rather than 8 instances of that unfairness getting balanced out, it's going to be half that too. So again, that stat continuing to be exposed like Janet Jackson in a Super Bowl. Good try though.
All right, before we get to the games this weekend, there's a lot of talk over the last couple of days regarding a couple of quarterbacks from this weekend that may or may not remain playing for the team that they played for this year, and in one case for their entire career. So let's start with Green Bay. There's a lot of buzz around Aaron Rodgers. I think he has already been on record as, he's not going to be part of any rebuild.
Right.
And there's, I guess some question marks. Is he done playing football, or is he just done in Green Bay? Kyle, to you, where, I guess, if anywhere, if we're going to throw that into the mix, is where is Aaron Rodgers going to play next year?
So, it's interesting with the way things ended up going, and the fact that he had the opportunity to deal with all the COVID hoopla and then still be the MVP apparent and number 1 seed, regardless of what happened in the postseason, is really something that I think would keep him in Green Bay if the whole rebuild situation. I'm glad you pointed that out, because everything else he said, but uncertainty, and look at his statement. Gentlemen, and anybody else listening, ladies, gentlemen, otherwise, aliens. I don't care. Okay. Look back last year, this time. Did he or did he not? Well, sorry. This time, 1 week later. Am I right? Did he not say basically the same thing, minus the statement about rebuilds? Okay.
Yep.
Now that all of the above being said, I would put him staying at Green Bay at 45%. I would put him retiring at 5%. The other 50%, in my opinion, is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay. Got a pretty strong receiver core there. You got an O-line that needs to be rebuilt a bit, in my opinion, but something they could certainly handle in the upcoming draft. Their defense is obviously awesome, and their running game is substantial. Not anything to write home about, but listen, look at it from the perspective of Aaron Charlie Rodgers. It's better than a lot of the running games he's had in other seasons.
And you have a rookie running back that is going to be heading towards veterans, like that is only going to improve.
Right, you are. Right, you are. And the most important thing is a guy who I think is the most player-oriented coach in the league, arguably, with also one of the best winning damn records in the regular season, regularly on his watch, in Mike Tomlin. Listen, Omar Epps has a great shot at landing that quarterback.
15 straight winning season. He's
Gosh,
never had he's never had a losing season.
That's baller AF.
That's impressive. Devin here says he's still going to be playing for the Packers. Big Mike checking in, Bengals fan. Big Mike happy this week. Gotta love that. Matt, where do you think, again, if anywhere, Aaron Rodgers plays next year?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's back. And I'm strongly in the Steelers camp as well, but to choose a different team just for the sake of bringing more to the table, I will say that Aaron Rodgers plays next season for the Denver Broncos for similar reasons as why he would go to the Steelers. A nice young team. They have some
Broncos.
Pretty good receivers and a solid tight end there. They have a strong defense. O-line could use some help, but I think that's a division that he would be intrigued with joining and playing in front of that crowd.
Certainly.
Yeah, I mean, they had the top rookie receiver last year. In stats, although I would argue Gabe Davis was pound for pound better, but yeah, you're absolutely right, man.
EJ, how about you?
I think he retires and works for the CDC, actually.
Nah, this guy, no, he becomes Joe Rogan's producer.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. No, he's done. No, I think he's done Green Bay. I think everything was hinging on how far he went. To me, it had to be at least a Super Bowl, getting there at least to extend another year. Obviously, that didn't happen, and so I think it's Denver. I've been saying Denver is the best fit from day one. So they're literally a quarterback away from being in the mix. They got a good roster, and they won 7 games with a mixture of Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater, of course. Well, we love Teddy here, but he's a stopgap. Let's be real.
If it's Denver, does head coach have to come first? Is that or is it Rodgers and Rodgers helps pick who becomes the head coach?
I think a little bit could be. I think this is the thing. Aaron Rodgers.
The franchise is smart. They get the coach first.
The issue is Aaron Rodgers. I mean, look, if you believe he's a diva and believe all this stuff, I mean, it's so hard to pinpoint what exactly he would do and how it will go. And
if you believe, listen, look at the evidence. Any juror would convict here.
No, right. I'm just saying that. But, I mean, I'm not saying Sean Payton will go to Denver, but I mean, now with him being his name now, I mean, obviously there's a lot more work in terms of getting out of that contract and all that. But let's say hypothetically, Sean Payton wants to play Aaron Rodgers, coach Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that could be something that could you can talk stuff into. It's wide open. That's all I'm saying. But I think he's done Green Bay overall.
Jason says Denver, Miami, or the Steelers.
Definitely Denver, the Steelers.
Denver, Packers, or Dolphins.
Let me take the Dolphins off the table for you, gentlemen.
Why is that?
Aaron Charlie Rodgers is well aware of the protection issues in Miami. Okay, not that I'm here to say that Tua Tagovailoa by any stretch of the imagination is he's no more a victim than Buffalo is of the overtime rule, is what I'm saying. But quarterbacks who have shown that they can do better with better protection outside of this past weekend, Brian Tannehill, have done well. And let's be honest, they've not fixed the O-line issues since the whole Jonathan Martin or Richie Incognito scandal thing. And no, I'm not explaining that now. So
Mike's got a great point. Good defense for
I mean,
Miami.
yeah, that's a great intangible by you, Mike. As somebody like EJ who lives in Florida, you damn right.
Andrew here says he won't go to the Broncos. Too much competition division. I'll call.
Versus the AFC North.
I don't think it matters, honestly.
The competition's Kansas City. The Raiders, depending what they do from a coaching standpoint, I mean they're a wild card team. They're not a division hunt, especially if you can bring Aaron Rodgers to Denver. The Raiders aren't hunting for that division, and the Chargers until they prove me otherwise are just going to continue to at some point disappoint.
But versus the alternative, we've all said the Steelers here. So let me get this straight: the division you'd rather play in, okay, is the one that has Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow that you're fighting against. And okay, the Browns suck. We get it. But
the Browns don't suck, but there's the
Browns suck. EJ,
Baker Mayfield suck. Baker Mayfield.
I'll say until they replace Baker Mayfield with, I mean, you can't get a lot worse, but with something worse, the Browns stink.
And by the way, guys are going to be leaving this offseason. They're seeing the writing on the wall, and if the Browns put the flag in keeping Mayfield is the franchise guy, Javon Landry, for example, bye. Right? And that's a big offensive weapon. OBJ already did the same. And look what he's doing. That kind of help matters in the political or PR concept of trying to stay in Cleveland.
Fair point,
right?
Fair point.
You know? But let me get this straight. So you're thinking a division with Lamar Jackson in it, with Joe Burrow in it, and that versus Justin Herbert and Derek Carr and Patrick LaVon Mahomes II. Now, I get it that Patrick LaVon Mahomes II is top heavy there. No problem. But as often as I'm scolded for giving Derek Carr any credit, now suddenly you're going to tell me that's the more competitive division?
Yeah.
And I don't mean you guys on this show. I mean,
no.
But, you know, I don't know, man.
Get out of here with Rodgers to Washington.
Washington's too woke for Rodgers.
That's
stayed as the Redskins. He might have.
If they didn't change their team.
Even Aaron knows that playing under Daniel Snyder is not the smarter thing to do. I want to put my career in that fucking guy's hands. Sorry, hate to break it to you.
Don't be rude.
Fuck Daniel. Hashtag fuck Daniel Snyder.
No, Jason, he's still not getting 12 wins even with Washington. Sorry, because inevitably even their good talent will.
No, I mean, maybe
you want to talk about offensive line issues. The red or the Washington football
the Red
team
Tails.
Really,
we'll know the name next week.
Let's bring an older quarterback, to a field that notoriously destroys legs. Yeah. Sounds like a great idea. Let's do that. I mean, actually, let's do that. That actually sounds like a good plan. No,
of course, you like that. You hate Aaron Rodgers, so
Jim chose violence today.
That's right. You're goddamn right.
When doesn't he choose violence? Come on.
I mean, it's one. It's one thing to call him Quanon. It's another to or Quayron. Sorry, it's another to comment that he should come to a field where he's going to get injured. I'm saying.
Come after me. I'm 40.
All right.
Wow.
The other quarterback in question is Tom Brady.
Go.
That's your fight for another place in another day.
Which he's already lost.
Let me just say,
anyway.
If he does retire, I'm trying to get all these takes out now before he goes away, and I lose him. So
you have to make
getting it out now. Go.
If he retires, EJ is going to do a podcast with the dark and only one single candle while he's praying to the cardboard.
Don't tempt me. Do not tempt me. Do not tempt me, Jim. I might do that. I'm dead.
Cardboard cutout that he sleeps with at night and cuddles.
Just say the words, my friend. I will do that. Come on now.
That was your Christmas present from your wife, I thought. Anyway.
Ooh.
But Tom Brady, a lot of questions of whether or not he is taking the field for the final time. Possibly just in Tampa Bay or possibly completely. Same thing. We'll go back around. EJ, we'll start with you on this one. Where do you think Tom Brady plays next year?
I do think he'll be back for one more year. I do think that this is the first time, though. I mean, I know kind of discussed it on Football's Awesome today. But but I do think for the first time, probably ever, he's actually really considering the options now in a way. In a real way, in a real way.
God, see.
No, I'm just saying. I think that Twitter.
You're buying into social media posts, my guy.
No.
Thank you.
No. I think
drama. It's drama.
Giselle has said already in the past that he would like to retire at some point.
She says it every year.
Thank you.
Wants him to retire at some point.
It's like Super Bowl win number 3.
But Tom
he doesn't need to play them. It's not like he's not like he's the financial backer of the family.
No, the thing is, Tom. This is the hard part. Like you look at. We knew when Breeze was done. We knew when Big Ben hasn't been official yet, but he'll be done. Obviously, we knew when Peyton was done. Tom Brady just had a 5,000-yard season. Was it 43 touchdowns this year? And
no,
was literally
offense.
Regardless,
I do not care what kind of offense he has. Dude, he's still.
You can argue that it's the benefit of a great offensive line and all that. All you want. It doesn't matter. The guy still did it.
He did his job.
Exactly.
Sure.
He's still performing at a good enough level to hit those numbers.
Yeah.
Somebody else on that Tampa team, Jameis Winston, and they're not hitting those numbers.
Right.
And if you get somebody else who isn't one of the worst damn quarterbacks in the league, Matt Stafford, with a good offense, look what the F he does.
Well, he's not, but it's not. It's Tom Brady.
So he's still at least what, top 10?
What, Brady?
If you're in the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, are you going to walk away at this point just because you're old?
No, you're changing the question.
The bottom line is this, though.
It's EJ's narrative and bullshit that I have to account
for. This is strictly, honestly, in real talk, though. This is strictly a family decision. I think if Tom Brady had the 100%.
Now you finally got it right.
Right. Yes. Now, if Tom Brady had, Giselle said, do what you want to do. Brady's back without question. There's no question Brady wants to play football. Brady is diabolically driven to play football. He's still, I almost at the top of his game, but goddamn, 45 years old, he's still a top 10, 8, 7 quarterback in the league. Right, let's
at least put him in the top 10.
Easily, without question. So I do think ultimately, I think they'll go year to year once again. I think it's the first time there's actually real serious consideration now, where he's now, being more transparent, about family and relationships and all that in a way where okay, maybe he'll come back, but I have to at least give retirement a more serious consideration now.
All right, so Jason says he stays, that he'll announce his retirement, say that he's playing one more. So it kind of goes on like the retirement, does the retirement tour. Devin
does the Derek Jeter thing. Let's call that what it is.
Yeah, Devin says he stays with the Bucks. Matt, how about you? Where do you think Tom Brady plays next year, if he plays?
I think he plays with the Bucks next year.
I mean, does anybody realistically think he puts on another uniform?
No.
Okay.
No. Actually, no. He retired Pedro for one day contract and retire.
Well,
he's not putting on a uniform, dummy.
He's not playing another snap.
That was worded specifically to stop you from that trash. Okay. I even tried to protect you from yourself, and you're too damn dumb. Come on, dude.
Warn you what you're doing to listen.
Yourself. Okay, I'll give you a bit high five for that. That was good. I tried to tell you, detective, but you wouldn't listen. Yes, Lucifer. If you haven't seen it,
I need a soundbite that seriously for the podcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find that one.
Oh, yes. No,
easy to find. If he does like 5 times a fucking show, whether it's my show or your show.
Oh, you're gonna wait. You're gonna now. You're feeding my ego.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, see, EJ keeps thinking.
Do that. What is this? 3 Count Thursday?
Shame again. Just joking.
With EJ saying this is the first time he's realistic and considered it, that's ridiculous. Okay. Here's where he started considering it for real would have been when he started talking about leaving New England. All right. Nobody saw Tampa coming. And if you're saying you did, you're either an insider or you're a lying mother. Beep. I'm just saying. Okay. I would also argue that because let's be honest, Tom Brady changing teams is him acknowledging he's pulling the Murtaugh rule, right? Which is acknowledging that his skill set or patience, you pick one, is deteriorating. And the one thing I won't ever take from Tom Brady is his mental toughness. So I'm saying he's acknowledging his body is deteriorating, right? I think we can all agree with that.
I mean, yes, he is not the same quarterback at 44 that he was at 34.
I mean,
that is expected.
You say that, Jim, but all these cats are acting like he could still part the damn Red Sea as if he was in his 28, in still his late 20s, right? So that has to be said for all the dummies out there, or the audience is home. But no offense there, Huddle Up podcast listeners, unless you're a Titans fan. So
then you deserve what you get.
Fuck him.
Wow, EJ. But I feel like when he first started really considering it was when we first got news of Giselle being worried about him, right? Because she doesn't want the end of his career to be Brett Favre getting picked up and basically peeled off the turf in Pittsburgh. Okay, that's the one thing I'm sure the Brady household does not want, right? And I don't want it either, to be clear about that. EJ might have some weird fetish, but fine. Anyways, so but I think it's more of a 50-50 overall. That being said, and I think where Jim has nailed it is, I'm going to steal from Nate Burleson here of the CBS Sports Crew. Addiction was the word he used, and it's bloody perfect to describe what Tom Brady's doing, right? He is addicted to what he's doing, and he is still at a high level. Like, y'all talk about top 10, and then I say, okay, cut him a new contract now and commit millions to him. None of y'all want to do that because it'll cripple your franchise. But I digress. Punchline being this. I think he stays in Tampa, but it's 50-50 retirement. We're not talking anywhere else, right? And I think that announcement will come in the offseason. That much I will predict. I think next year is out. If they won the Super Bowl, it wouldn't be a question. He would come back. And I said this on the Football is Awesome podcast. Bing, bing, that it's the Rams' fault that we still endure them. Specifically, Cam Austin. If he hadn't fumbled the ball twice and kept them in the game, we're not having this conversation.
Cam
Akers. I said Austin. Beg you. Excuse me. Cam Akers.
Steve Austin?
That's right. I'm stone cold.
Hell yeah.
I don't have any stone cold sound bites on this one.
And you call yourself a wrestling host? Anyway.
I mean, I have them on the 3-count board. You want me to load it, jackass?
Oh, no, that's okay. Damn. I was joking. I'm sorry, Jim.
No, now you done did it. I'm going to find one of them.
You got your ass in,
what?
Your ass in trouble now. Like if I like cheap beer better, that would be one time I would clang my cans together. But
how you doing?
How you doing?
What?
What?
Anyways, no. Now we're off on the tangent again. But no. But listen, with the whole Brady thing, like what I will predict is that the announcement of his final season is coming, and he's only still in it because this game was close. If they get murdered in that game, like they were about to, this is a different combo.
If Tampa gets smoked, Tampa doesn't make the playoffs, he's probably done. Win the Super Bowl, definitely back. The guy's not leaving on top. But I saw somebody had tweeted like on Saturday, like, is this it for Tom Brady? I'm like, if you think that Tom Brady's leaving when his offensive line is as beat up as it was, his receiving core was basically down to Mike Evans and, he had Gronk, but he had a bunch of other nobody. I'm like, you're out of your mind if you think it's the same way when Brady threw the pick 6 in New England. Was that his last pass? I'm like, might be in New England, but if you think that's Tom Brady's last pass in the National Football League, you haven't been paying attention.
Right. Well, there was a greater chance of it then, Jim, than there was now.
Possibly, but I didn't think there was any way that Tom Brady was leaving the NFL on a pick 6.
I mean,
I didn't see it. Whether he was back in New England or somewhere else, that was a whole different story. But I didn't think he was retired.
Ooh, we could tangent we won't, but I'm not so sure he'd have come back to New England that year. I think he would have retired first, but that's a separate combo.
But yeah, I think he is definitely back because of how close they were, and because it was the injuries and all of that, and they still got close. like they were still that close. You know, I like
2 games away, right?
Right. If you're that close, he still think they're there in his in his mind, and I think in reality, especially if you kind of retool a couple of things, you're there. Bring in a couple more weapons. I'm not so sure I agree with Jason with the bringing in Sony Michael or Melvin Gordon. I don't think necessarily the running game was the biggest problem. I mean, you didn't have a standout running back.
That was injuries too.
It was availability. If they were fully healthy, they probably beat the Rams in a runaway.
No,
and they're probably
you've been proven wrong already on your own show with that statement too.
No, they put them in a runaway, and honestly, they're probably in the Super Bowl because they beat San Francisco too. So
listen to the Football is Awesome podcast, and you could see how dumb DJ looks again. He's still dumb enough to say it twice.
I have notes right here to prove that.
That doesn't make you right.
When I can agree with you on runaway, not a chance. The Rams did everything they could, and I get the Buccaneers beat up. The Rams did everything they could to lose, and they still won.
Does it hurt just as bad when it comes from somebody else, EJ? I'm just asking.
Sometimes.
You know what I mean? So you had me at Bucks win. I can agree with that. Runaway is where you lost me. Run away.
You lost me now. I'm running. See.
Always
that was corny. I know, whatever.
Unless it's to the buffet, then I might be running.
Yummy.
Or to the movie theater for the buffet.
Yes.
Well, that's true. All right, let's look at it. Championship weekend is just a few days away now. We start Sunday, 3:00, CBS and Paramount Plus. You have the Bengals at the Chiefs. Like I said, this one 3:00 Eastern time. Chiefs a 7-point home favorite. 54 is your over under on this one. Matt, we'll start with you. What do you think happens?
As much as I would like to see the Bengals keep this thing going, I do not think that O-line is going to be able to continue on. And I think that the Chiefs offense being worlds better than the Tennessee Titans offense is also going to be the difference maker. So I will take the Chiefs and I will take the over.
All right, EJ.
9 sacks. Come on, dude. And you still can't win the fucking game. Insane. Chiefs cover this game. It's going to be a relatively competitive game. I do think the Chiefs will cover late. And so I'll take the Chiefs to cover. And I'll take the over under again?
54.
Give me the over. Number, Give me the over. Give me the over here. I see some points going back and forth. Is
that your lock of the weekend?
No. Actually, my lock weekend is the next one.
Actually, the best advice is not to bet that. 54 is a pretty damn good number.
Well, I wouldn't gamble on that though, but that's if I had to pick between the over and under that one, I'll go the over that one.
Right, yeah, sure. When Patrick LaVon Mahomes II is playing against a team that gives up a bunch of sacks and thus the potential for turnovers, the over is the right call there. I agree. I too enjoy Joe Burrow. I'm looking forward to seeing him back next year as the AFC North tries to retool. Hope the Ravens are hoping they'll be at full health, and I think we'll see some epic battles as the power balance shifts to Baltimore and Cincinnati instead of Baltimore and Pittsburgh, even with Aaron Rodgers attempting to be the patchwork there. That being said, what's that?
Allegedly, it happens, of course.
Allegedly, yeah, I said if right.
Yeah.
That being said, even
was
if
that
throws interceptions,
that's what if means.
I know. I hate her if though. Come on.
We'll get there.
That all being said, even if he throws it 3 interceptions, nice. Even if he throws 3 interceptions, Patrick LaVon Mahomes II is not out of the game, like Ryan Tannehill and company would be. I have the chefs handling business.
Yeah, I mean, I want the Bengals to win. I'm rooting for the Bengals to win. I do think the Chiefs are just going to be too much, especially in Kansas City. That's a hard ask.
And give the points too, by the way.
If the Bengals are going to do it, I think they're going to. I mean, it's the easy thing to say, but they're going to have to keep it under. I don't think you're going to want. You don't want it, regardless of the fact that you have Jamar Chase. Who's an absolute monster and everything. You don't want to get into that battle with the Kansas City Chiefs. You don't.
And I like Joe Mixon too, but you have an offensive line again that gave up 9 sacks. That's not the kind of team that keeps it.
It's that's a problem. If they can find a way to figure that out in a week's time, then maybe we're having a different conversation. I want the Bengals to win. I don't think they do. I think the Chiefs win. They probably even cover 7, which is unfortunate because I'd wish the game would be a little bit tighter than that. But I'll probably go the over because the Chiefs are going to score points. The Bengals are going to do their damnedest to try to match them.
And that's when they make mistakes.
Correct. Devin has the Chiefs. Jason has the Bengals 37-34 in overtime. Who wins the toss, though? No, just kidding. And Andrew has the Chiefs and the over. Then we go to the NFC Championship game, 6:30 Eastern time on Fox. It is the 49ers at the Rams, who are a 3.5-point home favorite. 46 is your over-under on this one. Kyle, we'll go back to you this time around.
I could end it by saying it's damn near impossible to beat a team 3 times. I'm sure it's happened, but it don't happen much. Okay. So that all being said, if you don't like that answer in and of itself, I have more. Jimmy G's throwing with a bad shoulder. He damn near had multiple interceptions and he didn't. That's the reason why they won that game. And then Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel both banged up from last week and less than 100%. That's a whole other issue, which means Garoppolo is going to be under duress even more, throwing on that bad shoulder. And oh, by the way, their one offensive weapon. The best thing I can say about him is he's wary. Oh, sorry, wrong movie. The best thing I could say about their one offensive weapon is he's a utility. But if you are slowed, any bit of that versatility is affected. So much to my chagrin, I mean, listen, maybe George Kittle goes nuts, and I'm happy to be wrong if that occurs. But a day's in, there's no way I can in good conscience my Niners.
All right. EJ, how about you?
The last time I think remember that happening 3 times, being seen 3 times, notably was the Steelers being the Ravens 3 times, twice in the season and then in the playoffs.
That makes sense.
And I believe that was one of the Super Bowl years, either 08 or 10.
And back then, I don't believe the Ravens were that formidable by comparison.
Right. It might have been 2010, the year Pittsburgh lost to Green Bay in the Super Bowl. Lock of the week, by the way, Matt, is this game, the under of this game. That's the lock of the week. But I like the Rams here. Everything Kyle said is the injuries piling up. And this Rams team, outside the last 50 minutes of the last game, they have been dominant. The Arizona game, the 45 minutes of the game with Tampa, and as long as they continue to do what they need to do, and I know maybe it's the mental thing that may happen where we haven't beaten this team in a couple of years now and whatnot, but I just think the stakes is just much higher, obviously, and I just think Stafford sees the light now, and I can't see them and this team just faltering at this point, especially when you consider as I said, the injuries to San Francisco right now and Garoppolo and Samuel. So yeah, the Rams win this game, they cover, but the under is the lock of the week.
I would also add that because Jimmy G will have so many turnovers. Remind me the number again, Jim. I'm sorry.
The over/under is 46.
That's a good number. My advice is don't bet it, but I have the over. I think Garoppolo makes that many mistakes, and the Rams make a statement.
Oh, you see a pick sixes and some fumble sixes. Okay.
Not necessarily pick sixes, but damn good field position.
All right, Matt, how about you?
Yeah, I said it earlier in the game. I think Jimmy G is taking them as far as he can. I think we're seeing them face a better defense this weekend as well, and the elements won't be as in play unless it's pouring down rain, which even still I don't foresee that being that much.
There's a roof on LA, right?
Well,
they have the option. I think there's an option.
Is it retractable? Yeah.
I know it's like open ended, like it's like open air on the ends, but I'm not even sure if the roof is retractable there. I'm not
Probably
sure.
Not.
That's Arizona, I think it is. But
chances of rain in Los Angeles, I wouldn't bet on that either.
Right. So I will take
chances of temperatures under the 30s in Florida aren't likely. But here we go. Go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
I will take the Rams and I will take the under, but I don't think it's the lock.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Jason has 2017 Niners on a game-winning drive by Jimmy G to Samuels to shut you up.
Homer. I get it.
Jason, you know what? If you happen to be right there, cool. I'll enjoy being wrong there.
Oh,
Let that ish happen first.
Also, I don't know if you mentioned it, Kyle. Also, I missed that. The Trent Williams injury is huge.
Yeah, I did mention it, and you're right. I mean, and let's be honest. what is it the kids say? Keep that same energy. If I'm going to talk Brady down when he's down that tackle, granted it's the other side. Obviously. Oh, and you're going to say it for Patrick Mahomes a second. Certainly, it's a factor for Jimmy G. Right.
Absolutely. And Andrew has the Rams in the under. Devin has the Rams. Jason, they're trying to defend themselves. They almost won the last 6 games. Playoff teams on the road beat Cincy and the Rams twice. They're just trying to run the ball, tie the defense, and pick the running game to run the clock. The problem is
he said that like 4 times already tonight.
Right. Well, and also again, the injuries on the offensive line, a Rams defense that is only getting better, trying to beat a team for the 3rd time. Like, I'm not saying the Niners can't win. Okay? I am. They certainly can. They've proven it twice this year. What I am saying is they're not going to this week.
I would be fine with Jason being right and seeing the Niners Bengals Super Bowl. I think that would be a lot of fun.
It doesn't matter to me who comes out of the AFC game or the NFC game. It doesn't matter. I'm
now it doesn't matter. You've escaped your "I hate greatness" take, huh?
What do you mean? Look. Look, do we have to do this? I don't hate the Chiefs. I don't hate greatness.
Yes, you do.
No. But like, if I'm given the option, I don't want them back in the Super Bowl.
But tell the people why, Jim. Why don't you want them back in the Super Bowl?
I just want fresh blood at the top.
This is why you hate greatness. You don't say it overtly, but in order to be, you would be the same guy, potentially, that would say, hey, this team would be great if they could get there more than once, and at the same time, you're cheering against them pulling that off. You cannot have it both ways, my friend.
The Chiefs haven't gotten to the Super Bowl more than once?
Twice. That's what I'm saying. You're like, oh, I don't want them to come back. Because they're great, but they can't be great unless they do that.
What greatness am I arguing against? Because you have said to me, you keep bringing up Mahomes. Like, when have I ever denied the guy's not great? He's arguably he's going to be the best of this generation.
I like that statement too, by the way. That's very possibly true.
You know what I mean? So there's I'm not arguing against them, and if they get there, I'm not denying them their greatness. I want the Bengals.
You just don't want it to happen,
right? But like,
I just don't want her alive anymore.
Watch.
I joke, but like that's kind of the comparison. Like, am I at least making sense, Jim?
You know what's fucked up? Watch Jason be correct on this thing fucking next weekend and be like, oh, like fuck. Well, good things don't show next week. I forgot.
Yeah, no huddle up next week.
You know what, Jason? At the SOTG on Twitter and Instagram, the Student of the Game on Facebook. Talk all the trash you want, and I will take it like EJ does from Tom Brady. Okay.
He says, who would you rather see in the Super Bowl, Rams Cincy or Niners Cincy? I mean, I'd like to see the 89 rematch, but Niners Cincy, if you're looking at the 4 potential matchups, Chiefs Rams, Chiefs Niners, Bengals Rams, Bengals Niners. Bengals Niners is 4th on the list.
I have to abstain from this question, right? Don't I? Technically.
Why is that?
You're a fan.
Well, okay, but I mean, you also just said 2 minutes ago that the Niners have no chance of winning. So, like, I don't think you're I mean, yes, if you're going to take the fan-sided answer to this question, but like if you're going to take the student of the game's answer to this question, you know what I mean?
Okay, then I'll give it to you. I'd rather see the Rams in that instance too. Why? I don't want to see the Niners end his damn career in the Super Bowl.
There you go.
Because that defensive cut,
I'll be honest with you,
will kill him.
I love Mahomes though, but I would love to see Burrow in the Super Bowl. To be honest with you,
that would be great. I agree.
Honestly, that'd be a great story.
By
the way, Jim is the 88, not 89. Sorry. 89 year Super Bowl. But
sorry, old man. I was 3 years old. My bad. My bad. I wasn't graduating high school in 88, so my bad.
I wasn't either. What are you talking about? I was 8 years old.
All right, let's.
Oh God, hurry! The time
out here, as we have come to do over the last few weeks. We're running out of teams, EJ. And like Kyle said, it gives you more opportunity to potentially be right? Like that's how we're doing it.
Yet he found ways to criticize my list.
Not ways, literally just one. For points, in case you haven't seen it. Wait, Jim, don't answer. Matt, what's the thing that's wrong with this ranking?
Be honest.
I probably have the Niners ahead of the Bengals.
Really?
Okay, I lost money. The Chiefs are too high.
No, you're too high.
You may have been too high when you made the.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I know Kyle's gonna say, "Oh my God, wait, no, you can't do it." No, I actually was. I almost had to rank number one.
I like the Kyle impersonation, though.
My voice is not that low, but I love it.
Going to the fourth quarter, I was dead set on saying I don't give a shit how this game turns out. Like Buffalo, KC, I got ranked number one.
Yeah,
and then
I was about to. No,
then that fourth quarter happened.
Stop it.
So, just saying.
And they still
that fourth quarter with
won.
that awesome defense where Gabe Davis alone caught 4 touchdowns. Yeah, that's a damn number one team if I ever saw it. Woo, defense.
Hey, I look good right now, man. Remember they were like 2-4.
Don't.
Remember that 2-4 Chiefs start? Yeah, the same.
What, sorry, what?
All 4. Remember
I'm sorry, the guy who keeps telling about how the AFC is so bad, and yet I keep putting the Chiefs way too high.
I said wide open. I said bad. I said wide open. I said bad.
By the way, didn't they lose to the Bengals, who you never put at number 10 until I beat you over the head with them? Remember that?
No, that week they're actually number 9 on that week.
Oh well, excuse bleeping me.
And they moved up after that week, so they were number 9 going into that Chiefs game.
Okay, enough with the baggage and you defending yourself and failing. That's cool. I don't think so, Jim. I mean, Tim.
Tim, what do you have any problems with my rankings this week? Anything wrong with it?
I don't think so, Tim.
I mean, I would probably put the Rams at 1. I mean, I'm not. To me, it's not as egregious as Kyle wants to make it to be.
It's not that it's egregious. It's just that it's happening again.
Well, right. I mean,
he's a Chiefs fan. That's my fault. I should be used to it.
Right. I was gonna say. I mean, like, you tell a dog to quit licking himself, he's just gonna keep licking himself. Like that's just how it goes. Like at some point, you just.
But here's the thing, though.
It's working. Fight, let him finish, and then you're done. And then
here's the thing. I'm 2 weeks of being correct on this whole thing. So
how are you correct? How are you remotely correct?
What do you
mean?
There
is no measure of you being correct.
You want to know I'm correct? You want to know I'm correct? I'm correct.
Don't be rude. You need to leave.
I'll tell him I'm correct, sir. It's my list. That's right, my list.
Well, EJ, I have to tell you, I don't think you.
Yes, he did it. Obama. He did it. Jim, have you heard the podcast yet? Because
no,
he opened the segment and he said, "I'm like, he's called Obama," and it went to like a Obama like riff for like 3 minutes.
He's ranking at number 1.
Wrong, yeah. So
I think Bengals Niners are right at 3 and 4.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised that you Matt said that actually.
But I am too. But EJ, explain to me how never mind, because you had the Bengals at 3. I was gonna say if you had the Bengals at 4, I would have made you defend it because you were so high on the Titans and their Super Bowl contenders.
And yet somehow got told by Titans fans, by the way.
This is where you're misconstrued. All I said in the last couple weeks leading to the playoffs was that they were contenders possibly by default because of the conference.
But that doesn't put them at.
That's all I said.
Wrong.
They're contenders, man. Even if they usually beat the Bengals, they still weren't contenders because other things we're saying about the Bengals aren't good enough to win. I don't even care that it's in Tennessee. Bengals aren't good enough to win. Titans weren't good enough to win.
Hey, put it this way. I didn't pick them, Tennessee. I picked the under in that game, which I hit, by the way, for the record. I'm 3-1 this weekend.
Everybody loved you picking the under. Nobody said the under would be wrong.
I was never touching Tennessee because I don't trust them.
And the one time
you don't trust them, but you were putting them in the Super Bowl contender category. It doesn't add up.
Had they won the game, they would have.
You don't know how to math. It's okay. It's okay.
In EJ's defense, that division is that bad to where I can see how he could have been led to the math is hard.
Hoodwinked.
Bamboozled.
Hoodwinked. shenanigans, tomfoolery.
Even with the return of Derrick Henry, like it, and I know he wasn't 100%, which was my whole point when you started bringing that argument to the.
You know what, Jimmy? You know what? Fuck it, Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon. That's it.
I don't have the sound. So
well, too bad. Fuck it.
So you just look like an idiot sitting there talking about Shane McMahon on a football podcast.
Yeah, I know.
But hey, when have you?
I'm on 3 count. I've been on 3 count in fucking months. So what will we do?
When have you ever been afraid to look dumb on a sports podcast?
Never. 10 years running, baby.
What do you think? Having the 49ers at 4th after look.
Oh Jesus Christ!
You're just saying the same thing.
What are we doing here, dude?
Stop it.
What are we doing?
If they win this week, I'll keep putting up your same take.
I promise the guy. I promise you, Jason. If the Niners win this week, they'll be my top 2. I promise.
Yes. And on that note, I think that's where we end. I think we can't get any better than that, Mark. Matt, let the people know where they can keep track of the things you're doing.
Yep, you can follow me on Twitter. It's at 3CT Affiliate. You can follow me on Instagram at Teaching to the Choir. I'm on 3 Count Thursday every Thursday night. That's live on Facebook. So follow the 3 Count Thursday page across all platforms. It's at 3 Count Thursday.
All right. EJ, let them know.
Of course, on Twitter at EJ Christian7, Ursula Podcast Network. We are doing a lot of stuff right now. We just did Football's Awesome today with Kyle, Mike, and Zach. We'll have an In the Paint podcast. I'm recording tonight with my boys Zach and Chris. Take the Wrestling Podcast, of course, every Thursday. Dropped every Friday. So Ursula Podcast Network on all podcast catchers. Anyone is out there, you name it, whatever. Guys, fun times. We'll see you in 2 weeks, Super Bowl week.
That's right, Kyle.
Well, you won't necessarily see me Super Bowl week. I will be with the 3-point conversion descending upon Los Angeles to cover media events therein. Maybe I could come in remote. I don't know. It'll only be 6 p.m. I might be awake, not at an event. Who knows? But at any rate, my friends, I am Kyle Nash. By the way, Teaching to the Choir, Matt, I love that handle, dude. That's tight. I'm just going to leave it at that. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter at the SOTG. Find me on Instagram as the same, the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the student of the game. Check out my work. He does one ding at the end. Settle down, EJ. Check out my work at the 3-point conversion, which I just talked about for my NFL work with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And, of course, coming up to the Super Bowl here in Los Angeles in a couple weeks. And also my work with the Black and Gold Banneret covering UCF basketball and football. So that's fun all the way around there as well. And, of course, don't forget my pop culture movie podcast, the Require Viewing with my friend Demosthenes Euclid on YouTube. And don't worry, as I told EJ, he is working on setting up the podcast platform. So if you're like EJ and are too good for videos, you might actually get a podcast. It'll be pretty great. Night, Jason. Love you, brother.
Night, Jason.
See you, man. Always fun. And EJ, unlike you, I don't abuse the ding.
Oh my God!
But
before we go, Matt, have you seen
Does he do that while he's thinking of Tom Brady?
Before we go, not related to football, but Matt, have you seen the NBA standings lately? The Eastern Conference standings lately?
I have, yes.
Number 1 in the East is?
I mean, if you want to hang the banner for number 1 before the trade deadline for the Miami Heat.
EJ, if you're going to do it, damn it, do it correctly.
Go Heat, bitch.
Thank you.
There you go. Finally, he gets one right. All right. You can find me at Big Jim Sports. Make sure you're following the show. We are at Huddle Up Podcast on Facebook and Twitter, at Huddle Up Pod on Instagram. You can find our merchandise over at whatamaneuver.net.
What a maneuver.
You can, the podcast feed is back and active, so you can subscribe and listen there. You can also catch the show on EJ's platform as he posts it up there as well. Our home network, of course, NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com, and our secondary home, the Leeb Sports and Music Network, LEEIB Sports.com. No live show next week. We'll be back in 2 weeks to look at the Super Bowl, some of the prop bets, and all the fun around the big game. So until then, stay safe, stay smart, and go for the win.